Welcoming all our viewers to International Affairs. Today is, of course, Tuesday, 19th of May. I begin here in the studio. Before I get into the discussion, important updates regarding the Middle East. Donald Trump has stated that he has halted parts of his planned attack, which was supposed to go in today. However, talks between the nations of the Gulf Cooperation Council has made sure Donald Trump has vending off this attack. The oil price still remains in the aboves of $110 per barrel. Important updates that are coming out as we await Vladimir Putin's arrival in Beijing with the summit between Xi Jinping and, of course, Vladimir Putin. Many more updates to discuss today as the World Health Organization is calling for international outcries regarding the Ebola virus. Before I begin the discussion, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, who is, of course, an Army veteran, a doctor of pharmacology, as well as a military analyst. I welcome you on to this program. I hope you have been well. It has been a long while I have seen you here in this very studio. Alongside, I will have our geopolitical correspondent from Washington, District of Columbia, Ambassador Norman Floyd Barnes. A very good morning to you. I believe it is very early there in Washington, District of Columbia. Yes. I want to begin with Donald Trump's commentary regarding Iran and the Iran war. There was the price is still very up high. As we've seen, the Barakah nuclear power plant coming under attack in the United Arab Emirates by Iran, and this is where the situation stands as of today. I want to begin with you. How do you see Donald Trump's comments regarding Iran, as well as any updates you may have regarding geopolitics from around the globe? Norman.
Yes, it is very early again this morning. It's Tuesday, and President Trump has informed the public that he has paused, delayed the military actions, scheduled military actions to take place in Iran today. The day is Tuesday. This, we believe, is encouraged by the Gulf states. They are intensifying the talks about ceasefire and the ending of the war. Very serious talks continuing. So with that in place, the president has decided to delay his military actions until we get some clear understanding exactly where this is heading. Also, here in the United States, sadly report that we had a hate crime attack in San Diego on the west coast of the United States at the largest Islamic mosque center in San Diego. It was carried out by 17 ATO gunmen, and they immediately after they shot, I believe, 3 people. One was a security officer. They took their lives, self-inflicted wounds to each other in a car together, blocks away from their home. The unique situation, another unique about the situation, they was tipped off about these disgruntled people, and they was in the process of searching for them from tips from the family on exactly what they was doing, and they was openly discussing hate rhetoric over the internet, and it was concerning enough for the police to start a manhunt. But unfortunately, they act upon their information and wasn't able to delay or respond in time. So this is still an active investigation going on. Another situation where a house of worship is being attacked in the United States. And as we moved on with this year, we are seeing that the pressures of the world, as we're looking at in the United States and globally, is now being affected by the people. And the people are taking these drastic and unfortunately acts upon the communities which they live in. So we have to pray for the families and keep in mind that we are living in very difficult times right now, and people deal with pressure in several different ways. And unfortunately, this wave that we saw in San Diego is indicative of the pressures that we see going on in here in the States.
Right, very important updates regarding the Middle East, as well as this shooting, a crime happening in San Diego, California. Almost 3 were killed, and of course the suspects included 2 teenagers who have died from this gunfire while this event was going on. The investigation, and federal investigators are prosecutors as well, is now labeling this entire event as a hate crime. I want to focus in the studio with Khosrow Samad. 80 days have passed in the Iran war, and today we see the largest mosque in that area of United States of America coming under attack, suspected only of teenagers. Of course, this is a very trying time for the state prosecutors there in that region, but it might ignite some kind of event in Iran between this warlike situation. What do you believe? This attack is definitely a hate crime, to say the least, as well. It's an active situation. How would you value this as it happens while the US is in a warlike confrontation with an Islamic state called Iran?
Well, thank you. There are the different aspects of the phenomenon. One is it's a teenage crime, apparently. So it should be dealt in that way. We are yet to get the final and conclusive information, the motive, the nature, the weapons used, the things behind the mindset of the criminals, and the after effect. We are yet to know the things. But after getting the information, that was easier, that will be more specific to give the opinion. However, we have seen the teenage psychology in the different countries, especially in the USA. They are in a tremendous psychological pressure, academic, institutional, job insecurity, loss of the mutual respect, loss of the nation's liability on them, and joblessness, drug addict, mistrust, misbeliefs among the spouse, among the fiancé, according to their cultures, and many more. They are very much disturbed. They are occupied. Right. And not only the crisis of the USA, this is the crisis of the teenage, to be frank, in the Bangladesh as well. You have heard the name of the gang Kishore gang, juvenile
crime gangs.
Juvenile crime gangs. And they even killed. And their one confession, I committed a crime to get the taste of the jail. I will commit a crime, take me to the jail, and I have the different taste. So this is one part. Number two, it might be the fanatic, it might be the eccentric, maybe some orthodox or eccentric people are there to make the things more complicated. Because after the more or less dissatisfactions of the China and the last meeting, when there is no conclusive or documented outcome of the ceasefire, then it was told that again Trump is being biased by the hardcore personals and Zionist personals, and we have seen. So is there any link up that the teenage was abused, or their brain has been policed, and they are compelled to do so? We do not know. Number three, the motive of the Trump is not clear always, and we have seen his frequent change of the notion and the objectives or the directives or the vision towards the Iran. Many a days, say that since inceptions of the agitations, he said that we have killed everyone, and that we first day we saw they killed the top leaders, including the Ayatollah. They say we will make it destroy like the sand. Then we have seen when they did not get the satisfactory result, they have think the ceasefire. Then the Pakistan came, we have told it here.
Right.
Then, the Pakistan's part we can, say will come, because at least ice melting was there. At least the giant of the USA, they went to the Pakistan. They had sat together with the Iran. It's a good gesture indeed, or a first step for this ceasefire. However, it did not produce that much satisfaction. Then what happened? We bring again to the China. That was more specific, because the President Trump himself went there, and the Chinese President Xi Jinping, he also invited there. And we saw that's very warm, apparently. The welcome reception was there, and the traditional foods were there. They are very humble. And one thing should be incorporated, that is Thucydides trap. Well, then what is Thucydides trap? It was uttered by the Chinese president. Thucydides was a philosopher in Greece, historical personnel. He has given a formula. It does mean that when two rivalry country, one is the superpower, another suffers from the complex, and ultimately, day by day, the another country when gets its upper hand upon the previous one, then there is a psychological war, and they don't trust each other. He gave an example of the fighting between the Sparta and the Athens. Sparta was more powerful, but Athens, day by day, they gradually their their war power. Ultimately, mistrust was there, and there is a fighting was there, and ultimately Sparta owned, but the Athens has to pay a lot. Why he said? He meant that there is a psychological war between the China and the America nowadays, especially after the fall of the USSR. It becomes a new giant. As we remember, the Napoleon Bonaparte has said that China is a giant when they take the opium, like 200 years BC, they're going to the Napoleon Bonaparte times. They are taking the opium, they are sleeping, they don't have any drive for their life, they are very inertia. Then he said, this is a giant, let them sleep. When they wake up, they move the world. Literally, it happened. Because what happened to the America? They at least took part 40 wars in the period. Naturally, they lost their lives, they lost their weapons, they lost their dollars. Above all, they lost their image. So pro-patriotic or pro-philanthropic image they could not show. On the other hand, China, day by day, goes slowly, they become a giant. And ultimately, it becomes a threat, an unavoidable country for the world's politics. And it may be uttered that the Russian President Putin is planning to go to the China. So let us see what will be happen at least after. And China is one part must be focused that when there is a meeting, China also rigid about the condition of the Formosa, previously known as Taiwan. He said there is no, that was no, this is integral part of the China, so you cannot give any armaments to the Trump, and any military support, or you cannot sell anything directly or indirectly. If so, there is no negotiation. So it is a matter that China was rigid about their point as well.
Right, very excellent examples upheld by Dr. Khushru Samad, excellent discussions as well. We focus towards the meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin, who is set to arrive today in Beijing. Of course, he is taking to the media in Russia, in his very hometown, and is saying that the two nations, Moscow and Beijing, is deepening ties as a stabilizing force on the world stage ahead of the talks in China. Of course, they want to work together for peace and universal prosperity. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, what are some of the reactions that you may see? We know that the common Chinese citizen is witnessing two superpowers trying to visit their nation in a span of 7 to 10 days. It's important to recognize that Beijing is now in an emerging force. As Dr. Khushru Samad was saying, I want to get some reactions from you. This meeting will be very important, and I'm sure Donald Trump should be attached to the big screens to see what are going to be the major takeaways. But how do you see this? Russian president in China, of course, Russia has been waging war with Ukraine for the better half of the last 4.5 years. I want to get a remark from you regarding Russia and China and their friendship and the ties between them. Norman.
Yes, the meeting is basically a result of back channel communications that has been carrying on for a period of time. The opportunity now presents itself after President Trump has just visited China for Russia to now feel comfortable communicating to
Right. I believe there is vocal disruption. However, as there was talks of Putin's visit, we see that there is time to mark the 25th anniversary of the sides' Treaty of Good Neighborliness and Friendly Cooperation. This comes days after she and the U.S. President Donald Trump wrapped up a two-day summit in Beijing. And I believe having two-day summits in Beijing will only pave the path for stability and prosperity as a whole over the world. However, 2026 has been the year of unnecessary wars, which has caused the price of commodities to go up. I want to ask in the studio, while we wait Norman Floyd Barnes' connection, you see, the timing is very specific, very important. Not a week passes that the US team leaves China and of course the Russian team enters. This only changes the example you have given me, emerging, but for how long? It is now nearing an established power, China as a whole. And of course, if you look at the technological advancements, this is a nation that has been producing almost every element of the household for the last 26 years without any kind of noted challenge from other manufacturing nations. How do you see the Chinese position? China is in a position to acquire Taiwan, and the US is blatantly telling Taiwan not to declare its independence. How do you see this as well?
This is the questions of the inceptions of the Taiwan. So this is a long story. So it will take more time. But it is that the Taiwan's existence is not an issue of the 1 year. It since Second World War, and it embraces the history of the Second World War as well. So we are not focusing on that for the scarcity of the time. But we want to say that in this period of the time, military invasion is not the solution. We have seen in the Vietnam, it was not a solution. We have seen the Afghanistan, the giant like the USA, they failed. The giant like the USSR, they failed. Only tiny country. And Iran, they thought it is an issue of the, might be couple of the days, they failed. So in the, their standard, they are the communist. So they are the more rational, more specific, more humanitarian, more philanthropic. It is expected, as they said, their ism. So they don't declare that the fascists, they don't declare that the Democrats, they declare that they are more rational and naturally expected. They should salute in the way of the table talk, negotiation by the third party.
Right.
Whatever the things, my only question is that military invasion is not at all expected. So China is focusing on the third party to negotiate between the Iran and the America, and they become the what I said another phase, show to the Taiwan, and they become the again tiger to take the lamb in their court. It is not the soothing. So double standard cannot be expected. It should be very crystal clear. Each and every people have right to know what is really happening inside the Taiwan, because the news, as you know, once in our passport does not support two countries. One is Israel, another is Taiwan. So as passport does not support, so very few of us, rather none of us went to the Taiwan once.
Right.
Now it is, though it is, the embarkation is not there, but still we have the very few diplomatic relation, rather non-declaring relation, and very few. So we have the least experience to know the country bodily or diplomatically or the personally. So my question is that, or my proposal is that it should be negotiated politically and things should be transparent to the democratic country. This is the time of the transparency. This is a global village. Everybody knows and everyone. It is take 4 or 5 hours to go to the Taiwan. It takes 5 hours to go to the China. So nothing to hide. Let us know what is really happening to the Taiwan and what is the dilemma and what is their matter of the conflict. So what is their point of the solution? It should be very clear.
Of course, from Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, important remarks regarding this. I believe we were disrupted, Norman Floyd Barnes' connection. He is with us now, and I want to ask him once more how you see the Russia-China friendship as we were discussing. You may talk to us regarding this matter. Norman, how do you feel about this relationship?
Yes, the Russia-China relationship is more, again, a transactional alliance between the two countries. They see the present situation as changing as both as the members of the BRICS. They are now focusing on the development as the alternative to the Western United States way of doing things. So the shift has already been made. The process has already started, and now they are meeting to basically to codify the agreement that they have about the future. Like I said, as President Trump visited.
Right. As he is set to visit Beijing in China, very important updates as we will see them as we see fit as they arrive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at the situation regarding Gaza situation and how Israel is blatantly, openly conducting in piracy even in the year 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go for a short break. Do stay with us on International Affairs. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
Testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all back on International Affairs. Of course, today I am joined with Dr. Khosrow Samad here in the studio. Alongside, I will have Norman Floyd Barnes joining me through Zoom from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to recap on some of the facts and figures from Lebanon, Gaza, and as well as Iraq. There in the Middle East, Israeli strikes have killed more than 3,000 people in Lebanon since March the 2nd, according to the Ministry of Public Health. This aggression has started for multiple days, and now we see almost 3,000 have been martyred, 9,000 have been wounded. Alongside, we see the Lebanese Hezbollah is attacking Israeli positions with drones, change of attack style, attack planning. And of course, Israel is creating a situation in international waters. The foreign ministers of Turkey, Bangladesh, Brazil, Indonesia, Spain, Colombia, Libya, the Maldives, Pakistan and Jordan strongly condemned Israel's repeated attacks on the global Samud flotilla, a peaceful civilian humanitarian initiative aimed at drawing attention to open up the naval blockade of Gaza. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, the repercussions that we see. Even the Mexican authorities are saying that 2 people from their nation have been arrested in this Israeli attack in international waters. It is having real-life consequences. The last time around, we've seen 2 Spaniards as well be a part of those who have been captured and tortured by the Israeli armed forces. Actually, what is the motive of Israel? If you would make us clear regarding this issue. Benjamin Netanyahu still sees that the war is not over. I repeat, the war is not over, where the entire world is trying to get back to dialogue, get back to the diplomacy they once had. As we see the sprawling events come by, I want to ask Norman, how is it fueling some of the concerns of Americans as the commodity price increases while Prime Minister Netanyahu is continuing his aggressive assault and posture? How do you see this, Norman Floyd Barnes? Your comments will be helpful.
Yes, thank you for the question. The situation with Israel is becoming a global issue. First, we was talking about Palestine, Gaza, the region, the Gulf State region. Now the situation has now went out to the open seas and other things creating. Israel appears to be in a state of active war against the world. Everyone who's not from Israel, there's some issues that they're dealing with. Palestine, Gaza, they're still bombing and killing in Gaza, even after they have leveled and basically forced people to leave. So this state of war, this active state of war, leads me to understand that the government in Israel they were supposed to have the trial start for the prime minister, and they have some reason delayed it. And because of this delay, we're now seeing a more aggression of military action by Israel globally. So now this issue about securing the homeland is now basically is securing the rest of the world. What is going on? I don't understand the whole premise of it. I believe this movement by Israel will cause friction within the United States, the biggest ally, in terms of dealing with world events. The United States wants to deal with trade and commerce and working its will around the world. At the same time, we have the emerging countries of China, Russia, and the BRICS want to basically create an alternative solution where people can coexist and there's an equal market and a fair competition. The issue with the U.S. dollars is being questioned, challenged, and not replaced, but being questioned and challenged as an alternative. And while the Israeli goal is to basically create war, they have contributed nothing else but war to the society of the world. How this is going to prevail, how long it's going to last, we don't know, but they're painting themselves into a corner which there's no solution for them. They're basically destroying the world, and in a sense, it will take them down also.
Right. Very important remarks by Norman Floyd Barnes. As you finish that, their actions will take them down in history as well. And it's important to note that they have conducted these military actions not only in Gaza as a genocide, labeled as a genocide, but today it is in international waters. I want to ask in a different aspect as we have to touch on other important topics from global importance, the World Health Organization, and why I believe that the next pandemic may be upon us. I want to ask Dr. Khosru Samad in the studio. Of course, you are a professor at these issues of pharmacology, of virology as well. The Ebola virus, a virus that stems from the Sahel states in Central Africa as well. As you know, that it causes a hemorrhagic fever, causes blood vessels to explode inside, which has a very high fatality rate. I want to get your comments. How you think is the world prepared to handle this kind of outbreak, especially because the World Health Organization almost delayed the aspects for 2 weeks before this can be identified? How do you see these updates happening?
Thank you very much. I have the mixed feelings. Mixed feelings means I had been there. I had been in the Congo as an United Nations peacekeepers, and the outbreak took place. That is Ituri Brigade. I was in that place, so I became nostalgic and could remember the medical support given by the Bangladesh, and they are very happy with the Bangladeshi army and the doctors' philanthropic actions and others. But this message obviously is very painful. Well, let me go back for the couple of the years, say 5 years back, when we have heard the name the virus, new COVID virus, we were very reluctant. Country was reluctant, the world is reluctant. Oh, we know the new and emergence of the new and new viruses. They uttered the SARS virus, they uttered MERS virus. In the Bangladesh, you might be knowing that the newer measles is going on throughout the Bangladesh, and it's become the threat. It has taken more than 400 lives of the children, 50,000 in unofficially declaration that are affected. This is also the viruses. And why I am saying so? The virus is a most complicated structure, and it is very hard job to given the treatment or the vaccine against the virus. Like there are the other microorganisms like the bacteria, like the urinary tract infection caused by any bacteria like Escherichia coli. I am giving the hypothesis. The female is affected, give the antibiotic one course, suffice. The patient will be fine, she is happy, doctor is happy, everybody is happy. But so far the virus is concerned, I have uttered the name of the series of the viruses. In the Bangladesh, there is a Nipah virus, which is a zoonotic virus, come from the bat, as you know.
Right.
So these are more or less incurable due to the one reasons we are yet to get any antiviral drugs. So the existing antiviral drugs is not suffice or that not fulfill the criteria to eliminate the organisms. Right. That is why still HIV, human immunovirus, for the AIDS, we do not know any treatment, and that is why the death rate is so high in the Bangladesh for the children due to the measles.
And measles is not only in Bangladesh, as I reported yesterday, it's also happening in Mexico as well as in Texas in the United States.
Yes, as you know, the Mexico is called another Bangladesh in the Northern America. Their geography, topography, even the peoples like you and me, the Mexican people are there. So your answer is correct and your data is absolutely right. They are the re-emergence of the measles in Mexico. Now, why it is a threat? As basically it is a zoonotic disease, Ebola virus. So it comes from the bat. The bat which takes the fruit, they take the fruit, say half of the guava, and half of the guava fell down from the tree. Say any boy, there the poverty there, underprivileged is there.
Lower income,
yes,
economic
Congo
stature.
is there. Their immunity is poor. They don't have the vaccination. Their mother is poorly nutrited, so they cannot give the proper breastfeeding. And the immunity which gets from the nature or from the mother's womb, they are not fulfill the criteria to be robust against the microorganism. So naturally they take the contaminated fruits, they become infected. So one man become infected, it transmits to the another man by the oral route, like nasal routes, like the droplets. As the COVID, you can remember, we have given the mask-like structure as someone does not get the virus from the another one. Number one. Number two, as you said, the fatality rate is very high. Very high, the 70%, occasionally more than that.
Right.
And this is the fatality rate and we have said that doctors are not that much thorough to combat. On my part, I'm ready to declare that I did not see any Ebola viruses patient. So since I did not see, so how could I know to manage the case? And since it is happened in the Africa, their structure, I want to mean that economic structure, health structure, infrastructure, geopolitics, and many more does not support the heavy logistics, military logistics, army logistics, more all the doctors' logistics in terms of the quantity of the doctors, nurses, paramedics, and the devices like the ICU, children ICU, and the other management system is not that much well developed. Naturally, it transmits from the one country to the another country.
Right.
It is one criteria. One criteria is that much very noxious. It is said where it has happened, it transmits to the neighboring country. It is characterized that. Say one wicked is he is harmful for his country, but he is more harmful for the neighboring country because harming himself, the country, again he harms to the neighboring country.
Right.
So microorganisms is that much virulent, and that is his criteria.
And Rwanda has already closed off its borders, international borders with Congo and Uganda. And let me just add on here that at least 131 deaths have been reported in this recent Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, with almost 500 cases suspected. So you are very accurate in your analysis when you say that the viral aspect is not bound by any kind of human demarcated borderlines as this disease is spreading. Very interesting statements by you, Dr. Khosrow Samad. We must head for a short commercial break. Afterwards, we look at some of these issues and how the World Health Organization is reacting as they have labeled this an international emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a short commercial break. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with presidency of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan? Welcoming our viewers back to the last segment of International Affairs. Of course, many discussion points we have touched on regarding geopolitics as well as the World Health Organization and Ebola. However, I want to talk about something that is of equal importance, the Indus Water Treaty, and how India is rejecting the arbitration award on this very treaty by The Hague, the international court ruling, which India is continuously dismissing and calling the decision null and void. Of course, the Indus Water Treaty would be regarding the water sharing agreements between India and Pakistan, two nations that have been strained ever since last summer regarding a terror attack that has happened in the border town of Pahalgam, in which tourists were killed. And that was the start of this very show, International Affairs, here in Bangladesh. This is how that started. I want to ask Dr. Khosrow Samad, in this recent Indus Water Treaty agreement, India is dismissing the international court ruling, as well as certain members of the armed forces of India has created inflammatory remarks between India and Pakistan. We may be expecting some kind of retaliation. We've seen that the Kashmir issue was not resolved as well. It still is a disputed issue between the two nations. How would you see this, being a military analyst as well? What are some of the points that we could consider to be important?
Thank you very much. The genesis of the cause is we have to go back. In the 1947, the British divided the two countries by the name of the religions, two nations theory. Likely this is the only two countries which is divided by the name of the religion. So far the history is conception. Now the hostility is prevailing of the two countries since 1947, since the inception.
Right.
And there are the many times war, organized official war, like the 65, 67, and included the Bangladeshi war is included. So there are the many times they faces each other. So they lost their mutual respect. This is very hard part. And the allegations of India is that Pakistan is patronizing with armaments and the training by the terrorists which is fighting against the India. So we are yet to know. We may ask the United Nations whether it is true or not. So a court of the inquiry, national, international level or the international level, it can be done and the solution should be given by them. But as you said, the inflammatory words uttered in the democratic country, it is not accepted. Then previous times we see the Pakistan, especially the Pakistan chief of the army staff, he could able to take the blessings of Trump as well, and Trump said that he is my general, and for the Pakistan it was possible to invite the America to come to the Pakistan.
The vice
image of
president
the Pakistan
actually,
naturally it go high, and so it cannot be treated in the previously. But the things is that both of the countries are nuclear weapon country, so it is very risky if there is any emotional outbreak, any incidents may happen. So and to violate any law, Hague or whatever the things may be, it is also not expected. So we want to say two rivalry countries should become the more brotherly, should be more cooperative. It's a global business. As I said, this is not the time to show the autocracy, this is not the time to show the hypocrisy, this is not the time to show the aggressiveness, because everything is transparent, everybody knows everything. Right. That is why it is expected that peace and only peace is the only thing, and it can be solution only is the politically, not by the military invasion.
Excellent statements by Major Dr. Khosrow Samad, someone who I enjoy hosting here in the very studio. Thank you for your time and your insights regarding international and of course regional issues pertaining to this new free world. I thank you once again for being here. I also want to thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us from Washington District of Columbia. Before I end, today is May 19th. It is significant as it remembers a legendary leader in the United States. It's, of course, Malcolm X Day, someone who was cited to be a major player in the civil rights movement until his assassinations. Of course, officially recognizing today is going to be widely commemorated with community rallies and educational events in remembrance of this American legend. With that being said, I am Shamsul Alam Pantho signing out on International Affairs.